Junior College to the list of eligible institutions that accept promised scholarship recipients.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 3270 to amend the deliberate intent statute to limit non-economic damages to $500,000.
Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having it read? If not, gentleman from the 55th to explain the bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The bill amends Section 233-42A of the deliberate intent statute to limit non-economic damages to the higher of 2 times economic damages or $500,000 per person. Mr. Speaker, that's a summarization of the bill. I'm happy to take questions. I urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? The gentleman from the 5th, Douglas Fluharty, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll speak to the bill.
Gentleman is recognized.
So just yesterday, we had a moment of silence for a coal miner from Mingo County. Spent 53 years in the mine. Just yesterday, we had a moment of silence on this floor for that gentleman. And today, we're saying those lives lost in the coal mines are worth $500,000. Today. We're not saying accidents. We're referring to intentional reckless conduct. Intentional reckless conduct. We're talking about upper big branch scenarios. And we're saying $500,000 for that life. $500,000. The hypocrisy in this place has reached an all-time high. For the past decade, I heard Republicans say there's a war on coal. There's a war on coal. Couldn't see a campaign flyer go out without saying that. And today, Republicans are saying, miner's life, $500,000. I don't want to see a tweet. I don't want to see a campaign mailer. I don't want to hear it uttered in the hallways of this Capitol how much you love coal miners. It's not just for them either. Loggers, the most dangerous jobs. Most dangerous jobs. $500,000. I don't even know who, besides a few that spoke at the public hearings, came down here and said this was needed. Even the Coal Association didn't do that. They didn't come down here and lobby for this bill. So I don't know what we're doing, Mr. Speaker. Upper Big Branch, we had willful violations of safety standards. That's what's required for these types of situations. It's not like you just go file a case all willy-nilly and you can easily meet the burden that's necessary. It's extremely high burden. And we're going to allow the bad actors, not accidents, the bad actors who intentionally allow these things to happen because they don't want to follow the rules, and people die. And we're going to say $500,000. Not doing it, not on my watch. And I believe many of you campaign on things, say a lot of things on the campaign trail, and I'd hope you follow up with it when you get down here in Charleston. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from the 2nd, Douglas Atesolo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the chairman of Judiciary yield for a question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure I understand the bill. You mentioned economic and non-economic damages.
Correct.
Okay. What are economic damages again?
Wages, medical bills, those sorts of things, actual sort of damages.
So if you're injured, you get all medical bills and your wages going forward paid. Is that correct?
Those would be in the economic damage bucket.
And that's not being limited or anything by this bill. Is that correct?
That's unlimited.
It's unlimited. Okay. And
technically.
So then, in addition to that, it's not a one or the other, I take it.
Gentleman's correct. So I guess the example would be that if someone were to receive, $499,000 of economic damages, they could also receive another $500,000 in non-economic damages.
Okay, thank you.
But
Thank
if,
you.
in the same instance, if a party were to receive $600,000 in economic damages, then they would have available whatever, they would have 1.2 million. I said that wrong. They would have 2 times of the non-economic. So they would be 1.2 million would be available.
So it can go higher than $500,000?
Correct, yes. I misspoke in that first example.
Okay, well, thank you. I wanted to be clear on that. Thank you.
Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman from the 85th, Docket Hott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the chairman of Judiciary continue to yield?
Yes.
Does this bill, as written, in any way, shape, or form, diminish or reduce payments made through our workers' compensation program?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, permission to speak to the bill?
Gentleman is recognized.
When we have difficult and challenging subject matter, it's sometimes a bill that's not exactly what we had wanted or intended, but that's part of this process, and that's why we do what we do here. The bill before you, certainly as a committee substitute, was not my original desire, but I believe it to be a step in the right direction. I believe it to be a bill that we can move forward, and I ask for your support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from the 52nd, Docket Row.
If the gentleman from Ohio would answer a few questions. I want to understand very clearly the elements that have to be proved to have the penalties that are in the statute come about. You mentioned the word intentional. I mean, if 2 employees are riding down the road in a truck and one of them veers over into a lane and causes a crash, that would be negligence. Would that come under the purview of this statute?
No, I don't believe so. No, we're talking about a situation where you have unsafe working conditions which exist, and the employer is aware of those unsafe working conditions, and then being aware continues on without attempting to fix those situations to make it a safe working environment. So we're talking about this is a very extreme situation involved, where there's an unsafe working condition, they have knowledge of it, and they say, we don't care about the safety, we don't care about the rules, keep producing.
So
Then an explosion happens, something similar to like Upper Big Branch.
So you have to, so for the cause of action to go forward under this bill, there has to be a certain safety regulation that's identified and is proved to be violated with intent by the employer. In other
Correct.
words, it's not just that, oops, it happened today, nobody knew, that maybe it's a saw and the guard came off this morning and somebody gets hurt. It's having somebody operate a saw that doesn't have the guard for 6 months or a year.
Well, I believe we had testimony in committee, or at least reference to it at the public hearing, of situations similar to that, where it involved a saw and a safety guard that was removed intentionally by the employer so it could keep operating, and then a woman's hair got caught in it and they weren't able to shut it off because the employer had already removed basically the safety measures in place to shut down that machinery. So we're talking about extreme situations where the employer has intent to keep on producing despite knowing that there are safety violations involved.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from the 30th, Docket Adkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't usually get up and talk much, but on this, I think I was voted in not to come up here and put a cap on someone's life. So that's what I got to say about the bill. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 25th, Docket Hornbuckle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've thought about what my brother from Ohio County just said. My good friend from the 30th. I appreciate those words. Ladies and gentlemen, we understand what coal means to us, but more than that, we should know what those families mean to us. It's more than just this misleading title. It's about dismemberment, losing an arm, a leg. I refuse to come down here and do this. I was going to say colleagues in this body, but no. I've got really good friends in this body who've put it all on the line, going underneath the ground, mining that coal. We know who they are in this body. Look at them in the eye and tell them, you're only worth $500,000. No, better yet, go look at their family, their daughters, their sons. I hope to God not ever a widow, and say, we got to cap you. We've got to cap you. We are charged with passing good legislation, and this just ain't it. Vote it down.
Is there other debate on this bill? If not, does the chairman wish to close debate on the bill? If not, the question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the result. On that question, there were 52 ayes, 45 nays, 3 members absent. A majority of members voting in the affirmative. The chair declares that bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 3270 to amend the deliberate intent statute to limit non-economic damages to $500,000.
Are there title amendments? Okay, the title as read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.